Right, what is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're doing well. Today I'm going to discuss and just sort of talk about my first experiences with my new bike, which is the 2020 Aprilia Tuono 1100 factory. It's obviously a V4. I'm pretty sure V4's in the name. But yeah, I've had this bike for a couple of weeks now. I'm on my way to get a service, first service, well, second service of the bike's life, technically, according to the book. So yeah, we're off to Brighton Moto, which is a little bit away from me, but worth the trip because I want the stamp in the book, although this bike doesn't have a stamp, which is another weird thing about Aprilias. Apparently it's a new thing on a lot of newer bikes where you don't actually have a service book anymore. You just have a digital sort of, sometimes they have a USB or something similar to that, or they just log it in a system at Aprilia, which is I guess semi-intelligent because it forces you to go to Aprilia to one, get the spanner removed, although I know there are third-party softwares what you can do to remove it, but it forces you to go back to Aprilia to not only get the service history of the bike logged digitally and officially, but it also forces you to get the spanner removed and go to them to do it, which is, you know, kind of smart but also really annoying, considering I'm going to now, just for that bit of service history, I'm going to have to pay, you know, extortionate prices for a service. Essentially the 6,000 mile service on this bike is an oil change and filter change and some checks, some torque checks I believe, and like chain tension, just all that sort of bullshit. And they'll charge me a lot for that, like a couple £100 I imagine. 200, I reckon 230.
You fool!
Which is absolutely eye-watering for an oil change, considering I could do that myself pretty easily. And I might in the future. But yeah, today I'm getting that service done. I thought I'd bring you along for the journey and just have a quick, you know, quick chat. Tell you what I think about it so far. Is this bike worth buying? Is it something you're interested in? Had a lot of comments, especially people saying, yeah, it looks like a great bike, it looks lovely and all that jazz. And yeah, it does look lovely. I am loving the looks of this bike. I also love everything else about it. There's not a whole lot I don't like about this bike, if I'm honest. There's a couple of little things that, you know, it's not as user-friendly, I would say, as the MT10 that I used to have. I think the MT10 was a bit more comfortable. It had, you know, it felt like I was sitting on a chopper on the MT10 a little bit. When you get on a sort of a sports bike, you think, bloody hell, this is uncomfortable. And this is a more aggressive seating position than a MT10. But it's not too bad. It's pretty comfortable, you know, if you compare it to a full-on super bike. But yeah, when I first jumped on this thing, I thought the throttle was a little bit jerky. I didn't have a clue about the modes that the bike has. It has sport, track, and race. I thought race was the you know, the road map, but it's not. Sport is the road map, which is annoying. Just put road, so I can actually, you know, I know it's for road. But you can still customize so much stuff on it. The amount of customization on this bike compared to what I'm used to is pretty extraordinary, because it does have electric suspension. But it's awesome, really cool. Handling wise, my initial thoughts were it's obviously a sublime chassis. It's a proven chassis. Like, engine is, you know, perfection in a nutshell. And what's it like to actually live with? What am I in, a 40 or a 50? It's alright. Speed cameras everywhere nowadays. But yeah, handling wise, when I'm going around town and stuff, it's pretty easy. It's I do find myself feathering the clutch a little bit more than I used to. It's definitely got longer gear ratios than an MT10, which isn't a bad thing. It's just a different way of riding a bike. You know, you get used to that sort of thing after a few outings, which I have. I'm used to it now. It's definitely a bike that you want on faster roads. It's not really a town princess, which is, you know, goes without saying. The chassis is a race-derived chassis, and it's the, you know, the RS V4 chassis, which is quite an aggressive chassis. great for cornering, and yeah, as soon as you start to go quite fast on this bike, it definitely comes into its own. As soon as you start going around some corners at a rate of knots and hanging off the bike, it really does change. The character of the whole thing changes. It becomes this sort of gnarly, sort of popping, fire-spitting animal, but everything about it is so nice. Like, you downshift with that blipper and it cracks, you know, you can hear the exhaust just like 3 or 4 cracks when you're really on it, and it's high up in the rev range, and it's like music to your ears. It's exactly what you want when it's, you know, for that full-on sort of experience when you're on a motorcycle. That sort of aggressive noise which just really, I don't know, goes through your soul, and you get into it, and it's just, I would say this is the thing which I found was missing from the RR, the BMW S1000 RR I had. It didn't have that sort of fire-spitting dragon, you know, animalness about it. Although it's an extremely quick bike, it didn't, I don't know, it didn't excite me. Unless I was flat out on it, then it excites you. But you know, I hope that makes sense. I haven't actually found it's going through too much oil yet. I've a couple of friends with Tuonos, and I've always been under the impression that they drink oil quite badly, and I think they do in comparison to the average bike, but still, this one's not been so bad. No idea where this route's taking me. Oh, it's hot, stuffy day. Yeah, but this sort of riding I'm doing now is not really that pleasant. It's not bad, it's still a nice easy bike to ride. But yeah, when you're out in the twisties, I imagine one of these when I go on a tour was going to be just epic. The seat's pretty comfortable. So would I buy it? Would I go back and change my mind? Would I buy it? Should I have got an MT10 SP? And I don't think so. No, I'm pretty happy with this. I look in the garage and I'm more than happy with my decision. Be naughty here. Definitely when I open the garage I look at it and I think, oh yes, I've made a good choice here. Every time you start it up, it's so loud. I'm finding it's not as loud as I thought it was initially. When you start a Tuono, they're so noisy, but when you're actually on it and you start to rev it out a little bit more, you're up in the rev range, it sort of mellows down. It's kind of strange. My MT10 just didn't mellow down at all, but on this it definitely does. It's definitely louder low down in the revs. One thing I'm going to do with this bike is I've heard that they suffer with the rear sprocket nuts actually coming loose, so I'm going to check the torques on them and then paint mark them. I've been following AP Workshops on YouTube. I think it's a lot of people recommended him. Griff, I believe his name is. He's quite far away from me, so I would, you know, I can't really go to him for my bike needs very often. But I follow his videos and take his tips, and his tips are very good. So I shall be paint marking my sprocket nuts, as he has made a video on that. And I actually know someone, a friend of mine called Glenn. His Aprilia actually the nuts did come loose, and he has a pretty much brand new Aprilia. Yeah, his nuts came loose and started milling away his swing arm, and he only noticed it when he heard the noise of it like grinding against the swing arm. Right, I'm going to get through this traffic and come back. I mean, it's pretty obvious, isn't it, that the highlight of this bike is going to be the noise. The V4, it makes all the right noises at all the right times. I turned this video on just as I enter traffic, which is kind of not ideal, but yes guys, I wanted to say thanks very much for the everyone who watched my last video. It was very popular, that video. It seems to be the videos that I don't put much effort into do well, and the ones that I put all the effort into just tank. I still don't fully understand YouTube. But yeah, I didn't even video the Superbike factory, but I should have in hindsight. But yeah, if you ever go there, it's quite an interesting place with a lot of bikes. But yeah, there's still a lot of stuff I need to do on this bike. I need to change off a few, well, as I said in the last video, really get rid of all the anodized stuff. It's really hard just to find a bloody oil cap that isn't an Allen key made of metal, aluminium or something. It's just not my vibe, that. The levers are what I really want to change. I really hate this folding lever. just don't like the movement it gives me. I have like quite a lot of play, and I don't like it. So yeah, there's a few things I want to do just to make it more my own. I've ordered the crash protection. I went with Evotech spindles for the front and rear axle, as well as the main frame slider. I saw the other day a video from Evotech actually, and they released a video of why, you know, they make their sliders out of the material they make them. And I saw another video where the guy had a track bike. He had an R1, and he was saying he's moved away from this nylon composite sort of material that they usually use, and he's gone with metal because it lasts, it seems to not wear away as bad and all that sort of stuff. But from what I saw and what I've done the research with, I mean, you don't want metal sliders because it doesn't absorb any of the impact. So the impact goes directly onto your chassis or your swing arm. So you ideally need nylon or a composite material on your sliders. Otherwise, what's the point? You're just damaging the frame, or you're making the frame have impact, and you might have a crack in a weld or something. So bear that in mind. Hence why I've gone with the nylon from Evotech. I like the development they put into their products. So they are who I have bought from coming up. I mean, what more could you want on a V4? I'd like my cruise control to work, that's what I want, which it isn't. Oh my god. That sounded insane. That sounded insane. I'll tell you something I have noticed about the Aprilia is how bad on fuel it is. I knew it was going to be bad on fuel anyway, but damn, I think it's worse than my MT10 by quite a long shot. And the fuel tank's bigger, so it's like hurts every time you fill it up more. So here we are then, B-Town. I think it's my first ever experience being able to use a bus lane, which is actually quite cool. Oh, that was a pothole and a half. Almost to where I need to be. Couldn't live in a city. Just not made for it. Let's get to our destination. Like a key, which is pretty much uninterrupted on insertion, unlike the old MT10. Let's get the fuck out of here. Thank you very much. Cheers. Yeah, cheers. Thank you. Thank you. Actually, thank you that time. Right, I believe I need to go there. Fuck it. Go this way. Oh, there's destination. Hello, Brighton Motor. Well, guys, I'm on my way out of Brighton now. Had the bike serviced. £304 shorter in my pocket. And that is where my GoPro died. Thanks very much for watching, guys. It was a expensive service considering it was an oil change really and a software update. So the old Aprilia is fresh. But yeah, thanks for watching. Catch you on the next one. Ciao for now.